Driving over here, I had a friend on the telephone, hands-free of course, who studies the effect on lectures like this on the audience. And he told me, Marco, the average attention span of your audience is 10 minutes. So I thought that's 5 minutes for the guys and 15 for the girls. And after the attention span is worn out, you start to think about household troubles, worries about your children, maybe financial troubles, and in the best situation, your holiday or erotic fantasies. With me on stage, erotic fantasies are not very likely. So please bear with me the next 15 minutes. And I'll take you through my presentation, which now I think is just one dot on the nudge side. This is to get you into the spirit of the presentation, so you know I'm going to talk about food. And this is to get you thinking, a quote from Midas Dekker. To introduce myself, my name is Marco Wisse. I'm a nurse by trade, and the last 10 years I'm the managing director of a nursing home in Naarden. And we did something that is maybe kind of special. So they asked me to tell you, to share with you what we did. Back to the origin of traditional cooking with organic and local products. And I'm just the messenger of this story, because the real work was done by my cooks and hostess who had the guts to try something very different. Statement. There is an assumption, and it is there since Henry Ford taught us how to work on a conveyor belt, I don't know, that an industrial process is faster, cheaper, and more efficient. And in this case, the assumption is that industrial cooking is of the same quality as traditional cooking, and that industrial cooking is cheaper than traditional cooking. I beg to differ. I'd say it's not cheaper, it's not of the same quality. And I'm going to take you on a tour with some social factors surrounding what's important in serving food and beverages. Where did we go wrong? Well, for 25 years we produced a meal that I would call not bad. It was an industrial produced meal, and I don't know what the English word for it is, but we cooked it, we frozen it or cooled it down as quick as possible, transported it to all kind of different nursing homes in the area, and then reheated it the next day. So our patients were eating reheated food every day. Gradually we came to the conclusion that not bad is in fact very bad. So what's the problem? Laska took you through the figures and the numbers. I have slightly different. About 300,000 elderly people live in a healthcare facility. And under pressure from everyday shrinking budgets, managers like I are trying to look for the cheapest way to take care of our patients. And food is an enormous cost in a nursing home. Ever shrinking budgets, nurses and people in education are always complaining about the budget. But to put things in perspective, for the average patient suffering from dementia, I get about 160 euros a day. For a prisoner in the Netherlands, we pay 80 euros more a day. So this society gives more money to prisoners than to their elderly people. That's the solution. The suggestion is, make sure you're a criminal before you got dementia. I got 18 minutes for this speech, but maybe we can solve it in less time. Industrial prepared food appears to be the solution if you have a small budget. But is it the best solution? And to make matters worse, approximately 1 million elderly people in the Netherlands living independently, and independently is mostly alone, rarely eat a fresh prepared meal anymore. That is by social isolation, lack of energy, or too much trouble to go into a mini market. Albert Heijn had a solution, it's called Appie, and I'm not able to cruise the supermarket with my handheld telephone, so elderly people don't know their way in the supermarket anymore. Imagine having to eat an airline meal every day. Or your only option is eating in a hospital, a nursing home, or a highway restaurant. There is nothing wrong with this food. It doesn't look very appealing, but there is nothing wrong with it. But it's not something you want to eat every day. And most of my patients stay for at least 3 months, or maybe longer, some of them 3 years, eating this food 3 years long. So we had a dream. I brought together our cooks, our hostesses, and told them, what if in a world where money is no object, and we had a chance to start all over again, what would you as a cook want to do? And they were quite clear. And you have to imagine, my head is too big. These cooks worked in an industrial kitchen for 25 years. And after 25 years, I asked them, what would you want to do if money was no object? And they had a quite simple plan. We want an open plan kitchen in our restaurant. We want to prepare the food in a traditional way with as much organic and as much local products as possible. And we want to serve that food in the most hospitable environment imaginable. And we want to open the restaurant for elderly people in the neighborhood. Okay, if that's your dream, then we have to work on it. Why a hospitable environment? Here is a small story to tell. I told you I'm a nurse by trade, and if nurses hear this story, they will evict me from my profession. But for a nurse, helping patients with their meal is a routine thing. They do it swiftly and they do it efficiently. But imagine you have to eat every day swiftly and efficiently. Nurses aren't good in hospitality. If you bring in people who have a hospitality training, it's their art, they create an environment where everything is calm, serene, and nice. And Laska told me to tell you a small story. The nurse who puts in your curlers in the morning, most of my patients use curlers, and a blue wave. The nurse won't tell you in the afternoon your hair is looking nice. But the hostesses in the restaurant will do. Because they saw you yesterday and your hair was a mess. And they see you today and they say, you look nice today. It's strange is nobody ever tells you you look nice anymore. So, a place for encountering and contact. That's what we want. Well, that was then, and this is now. And don't think I took this picture from the internet. This is my own chef, Adrie. And the only trouble with the picture is he's putting pepper on the counter. Why did we go to all that trouble? Well, this is one of them. 1/3 of the food produced annually in the world is lost or discarded. 1/3. So without producing any more food, we can stop all the hunger. But we are Dutch, so a third of all food doesn't say as much. It's more what's in it for me, for us Dutch. Well, somewhere between 270 and 400 euros per household is thrown in the bin while there's nothing wrong with it. And the main reason for throwing good food in the bin is our total indifference to food. Now, in our restaurant where we prepare food the traditional way, we discard 5 to 10% of our food, and not in the kitchen, but only the things that are left on the plate by patients. So I'm quite proud of that. Another reason. Do you know how a food factory works? They drive in once a year about 10 trucks with potatoes, and they measure the starch content, zetmeel, the starch content of the potatoes, so they know exactly how much salt they have to add to the potatoes. So the potatoes will taste the same 365 days a year. But they didn't know that our smell and taste memory is the strongest memory we have. Even people suffering from a very advanced stage of dementia still remember taste and smell. But if we give them potatoes that taste exactly the same all year long, we're boring them. If you have any children and you bring them to a school on a rainy day, you can smell the rainy coats in the hallway. And in an instant you're back in your own school days. That's how great our smell and taste memory is. We have to take that in account when we are preparing a meal. Craftsmanship, one of the other speakers told, it was you. Craftsmanship gives you quality, gives you flexibility, gives you creativity. There is contact between the guest and the cook. It tastes better and the job satisfaction is much better. I'm so proud of the cooks I have in Nijderheem, because after 25 years just mindlessly producing large quantities of food, they now produce a meal I'm really proud of. And you've seen I've taken too much of it. Experience, another reason for making all those troubles. In a nursing home there is not much to do day by day. We have some therapists who can do some knitting or painting, but it's all artificial, and once a month musicians come in, they play some music, but it's all artificial. How is your attention span, by the way? The open plan kitchen gives our patients something to see, something to smell, and something to taste, and that's a natural way of experiences. So, to sum up, traditional cooking gives you more possibilities, less loss of product, less environmental impact. It's better and it's healthier, I claim. And then come the negative men, the doomsday thinkers. What's wrong with how we did it the last 25 years? They gave me about 100 reasons not to do it. But I needed just one to do it. It was a dream, and you have to follow your dreams. Dutchmen like to know how much does it cost. Well, this is the shortest version, and if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper, this is not enough, but it's correct. The ingredient price of organic food prepared in a traditional way is €3.10, and industrial is €2.55. But there are a number of reasons why that cost the difference is not so big. €6.17 I spent on a two-course meal, a hot meal. But there are a lot of savings, Because in the nursing home Nijderheem, we hardly use any diet products anymore. Only for people who are allergic to some foods. We don't use any nutritional supplements anymore. And I spend about 30,000 euros a year on nutritional supplements, just because our food wasn't good enough. We save money on drugs, medication, no, drugs. But I'm going to broadcast this, I have to be careful. We save a lot of money on products for skincare. Elderly people, our skin is our most sensible organ. If you don't eat enough and if you don't eat well, your skin is going to suffer, and we have to put everything on it to keep your skin a bit vital. But I also save on staff costs, because my patients go to the restaurant and stay there for 1 or 1.5 hours enjoying a meal, instead of going on a ward and ringing a bell for the nurse. So I save on staff costs. And because elderly people from the region also come to Nijderheem, I get a little extra income. And the institutional way of cooking, I used to pay 5.57 for a meal, but the cost of the care of the nurses weren't calculated, the reheating cost weren't calculated, the loss of products wasn't calculated. Okay. They told me they'd drag me off the stage if I... last few seats. Why is it hardly more expensive? Well, the procurement is competitive because of the large volume. No more menu cycle. How much time do I have?
3 minutes.
Oh, that's enough. Nursing homes have by all these years a committee that thinks of the menu cycle. Dietitians, head chef and patients sit together and are going to think out what they will eat the next 6 months. And if there are carrots on the menu on, let's say, the 1st of February, and carrots are priceless on the market, head chef takes care of carrots. They will come. If you let go of the menu cycle and just like everybody go to the market and say what's affordable today, then you save a tremendous amount of money. What does it take? My last few sheets. Well, first it takes a vision, but my chefs had them even after 25 years. It takes a bit of perseverance and courage and a little extra money, but what the hell, no guts, no glory. In conclusion, a factory prepared meal is hardly any cheaper, maybe more expensive than a traditional prepared meal. But the traditional prepared meal is much tastier and much healthier. So industrial production isn't always cheaper. Why should we give our patients or elderly people in general a factory meal? Last sheet. Do not let your dreams be spoiled by the bookkeeper. Once there was a minister in this country who decided to build a sewer system. And that wasn't a solid business case. A sewer system was never a solid business case. But it contributes to our national health care very much more than all the hospitals and all the doctors together. So keep dreaming and try to live your dream.